All right, guys, we are live. This is the Shillan recap show on sherdog.com. I am your host. I am going solo because I have finally gotten rid of that bum Ben Duffy. He was holding the show down. Really, honestly, it came down to this, guys. I just want to be 100% transparent. Ben doesn't watch The Wire. He is not high on his list of priority. That is blasphemy to me. So it didn't work anymore. So we got rid of him. So I'm riding solo. Obviously I'm just joking. Ben is traveling. This is the Shillan and Duffy show. Ben is traveling because of the early start time. He didn't get back in time. But he'll be here next week, UFC 300. So he's definitely not going to miss that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna try to get to as many comments as possible. When you go solo, it's much harder to keep it moving. So we're gonna have to get to as many comments as possible. Let's throw this right to the chat. We had a really fun card. We had Brennan Allen taking on Chris Curtis. The rematch. Big Marcel is here. Yo, Marcel, you want to jump in and recap with me? If you do, send me a message on Twitter. Jump on with me. Anyways, put in the chat what your scorecard was. West Coast is saying robbery. Of course, he likes to troll. So if I had it 48-47 for Brennan Allen. This is one of the best fights of the year. I thought it really lived up to it from top to bottom. Yeah. So Big Marcel said he'll jump on. I don't have your email anymore. Let me see if I can do this. You guys want Big Marcel? Why won't you? Let me see. I got to send him an invite. So let's see if I can do that. Let's see. Copy that. Sorry, this is gonna take a while. This might be a little holding up thing. But when you got a celebrity like Big Marcel as a chance to come in, you gotta. Let's see if I can get him on Twitter. Where there is. So I just sent it to you, Big Marcel, in Twitter. So hopefully you'll get that soon and you can jump on. If it works out, if not, it's got to be super. I mean, I'm happy because it's only 9:00 here. It's got to still be super late in that third world country that Big Marcel lives in. I had a 48-47. I had it dead even heading into the fifth round. It was back and forth fifth round. I thought it was really close. And I actually scored the last. I was right on it, and I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna score this? I'm gonna get murdered on the recap show. Those are always the hardest one. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Big Marcel.
What's up, man? What's up?
Dude, long time no talk, man. We go way. Yo, listen. Let me tell you about my boy, Big Marcel. We go way back. All the way to the loudmouth MMA days.
Yeah.
Big Marcel, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Kind of late, but I'm always awake. So I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing good. Hey, feel free to drop out anytime if you have to. I understand it's really late. First of all, I love the background. Only you would have a background on the spot like that to have tonight's card.
Yeah, man. I always have this background ready, man. During fight week, so I'll have to change it to that weird poster from next week. But
let me ask you this: how'd you score this fight? What was your scorecard?
Oh man, I thought it was super close, man. I feel like I had a 2-2 going into the fifth round, and I think Curtis was winning, and then I think the judges switched the last second. Because of Allen did the damage. That's pretty much what I think. I think it was super close, man. I've been cool with both guys getting the nod, super close fight, man, in my opinion, and could have gone either way, and that's pretty much how I felt about it.
Yeah, you know what I loved about this fight? Not only was it super close and a lot of action, and we'll get into the details of the action, but what was impressed me is not only was the fight close, I thought every round was close. To me, the most decisive round was probably the first round.
Yeah,
for Brennan Allen, and even that was like competitive. Like I felt like Curtis, take a little while to get going, and he kind of got going in the last minute. So Allen banked it, but the second round was close. I gave the second round to Curtis. To me, the third round was a really tough round to score because Curtis landed the best shot, but he actually the more volume was on Allen, and then Allen got the takedown, the whole back control. He was fighting for the submission in the third round. So I'm like, that's a really close round. Like, do you give the one big moment to Curtis, or do you give it to Allen? I gave it to Allen. Third. Fourth round, I felt very similar again. I thought Curtis might have landed the better shots in that fourth round. That's why I gave it to Curtis. Fifth round, I was having a hard time, and I'm very glad. And now, me, I really don't root for fighters. I just love the sport so much. I kind of root for the most exciting thing to talk about. And the fifth round, I was like, man, the body language looks bad up until like the last 10 seconds. But I actually thought he was doing more things. Well, Curtis, the body language was looking good, but I'm like, what is he really doing? He's being defensive, but he's not capitalizing on all the positions that Allen is giving him. So I was like, oh, who do I score to? And then the very last second, I thought Brendan Allen stole it and then ended up stealing the whole fight for me. So, and you're kind of in the same boat?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. And I think also a lot of people thought like Curtis landed that knee flush to his chin, but it was more the armpit, I feel like, right?
Yeah, which is such an advantage for us because like halfway through the round, they show that it was kind of deflected. The judges don't get that, and it's tough because Paul Felder. I like Paul Felder, but he has become the Joe Rogan and overselling shots where he'll just scream out, "Oh!" And think about it, you're in the apex and you're one of the judges. There ain't many people. They started off the fight saying how quiet it was and you could hear a pin drop, but you'd hear. Paul Felder scream out, "Oh!" if you were there.
Yeah, it's super. The apex is kind of quiet, and that's the thing. Like even like I always say, man, the judges, if they are close to the booth, they can be influenced by the booth. If they, and I don't always agree with what they are saying. You know what I mean? So, and I know you don't agree also as well sometimes with the booth that there are certain things saying that's not true, and the judges can hear that. Like tonight, there was also another judge. I think Chris Toyoni was in front of his view, and he was like, and then he had like the octagon side, which is where the banner is, and he was looking in between that. I was like, dude, you have a screen in front of you, if you can't see it for a moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I don't want to go down the Apex things. I absolutely hate the Apex. I'm going to get into a little bit later on, but no one really likes the Apex. I want to talk about some of the action, some of the things I liked. I thought even, in a loss, I thought both guys looked fantastic. I felt in heading into the fight, I wasn't sure if Curtis was that level of guy. I think he showed. I think he showed that he's one of the top middleweights in the world. I thought both guys looked really good. I thought in a loss, I thought there was things that Curtis did that I've liked more than in wins he's had. Because in his wins, I think about like knocking out Brendan Allen the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I've always known that he's had punching power.
Of course.
What I liked is the volume he had in this fight. That's usually been the problem with him. He'll give away rounds. He'll kind of flow and deflect shots and kind of like has that what I always like to talk about like Jorge Masvidal, where Masvidal when he's not getting hurt, that means he feels like he's winning. That wasn't the case when like Curtis was throwing. He's still a headhunter. He was going to the body, but he still doesn't add kicks. I think that's bad. I think he needs to initiate some wrestling. I think there's some poor fight IQ things at moments. But overall, the volume, the pressure of Curtis, I thought that was a really good showing for him.
I agree, man. Look, he looked very good on the feet, man. The combos were pretty nice to watch. From the face to the body, it was a beautiful thing to watch, and. I think like we seen him win by knockout before, like you said in the Phil Hawes fight, for example, the Buckley, the Allen one. But in those fights, I remember, but definitely in the Hawes fight, he was get lit up in that fight until he knocked him out. So
I think about the Buckley fight. He was losing the Buckley fight until he called him.
First round. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So it's like this was a pretty good showing by him, but. Also got to give credit to Brendan Allen, man. Brendan Allen definitely leveled up since they first fought. Obviously, his stand-up is better. I still think there is a lot room for for improvement. But he does pretty well, and we know he's great on the ground. But Chris Curtis has only been submitted once, I think, in his career, and it's years ago. And yeah, he was not going to give him his neck like some of the others did.
Yeah. Some of the things I liked from Allen is just the more tools. I mean, he's definitely the full kickboxer in there. He's throwing kicks. I love the step in elbows that he was doing. I mean, he hit Curtis a bunch of times. There was one thing where when Curtis would sidestep back on the left side, Allen was timing him stepping back with a straight right, and he was landing that, especially early in the fight. Curtis made a little adjustment to that. I mean, the big adjustment he made is he didn't step back anymore. So that to me, I thought early was a big thing where I'm like, oh wow, Allen might run away with this because Curtis was just boxing and he was using this movement, and then he'd kick him and he'd move, and then he'd initiate the clinch, so he'd be on the offense. So there was a lot of things I liked. Curtis in there. So Curtis, he's been on the regional scene, before the UFC forever. He fought everywhere, but one big region was in fighting for CES right here in my backyard. So I'd seen him in person so many times. I always thought he was UFC talent, but if you told me that he was going to be main event UFCs, I wouldn't have believed that. But I think the big thing he's always been this great boxer, but to me, I just see a growing confidence. Like he's reached the point where he believes he can be there. And I've always believed that confidence, the guys who have reached Conor McGregor, Sean O'Malley, they have this, near cockiness to it. Especially those two guys, but there's something about self-belief. I really believe it. And I think that's what's happening with Curtis, where he's added some tools, but it's really I think it's up here now. I think he believes he's supposed to be here. And that's why he's been so successful.
Yeah, I also still believe, man, that Curtis came a little bit late to the UFC, man. And it's like, remember the Contender Series fight where he knocked out Sean Lally, I think was that, right? And yeah, the hook kick, and he didn't get signed, and he was super salty about it, and I was honestly as well, because I thought he deserved to get signed. And then he went to PFL. I think he retired twice, and then finally got his shot at the UFC. So I feel like he should have been earlier already in the UFC, But yeah, I'm happy he's here, and man, he showed that he deserved to be in this main event. Man, he took it also on short notice. I think a 3-week notice after Vettori pulled out. Showed a great fight, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one advantage he has being that he's an undersized middleweight, that he's not a guy who's cutting a lot of weight. He claims that he'd always be in the gym, which obviously that's pretty apparent the performance he put on. I mean, it wasn't a cardio issue why he lost tonight. The other thing that I'm always been super impressed, and even tonight, is his chin. I mean, Allen landed some big shots. I mean, he never once buckled. I mean, at the end where he kind of his hamstring gave out on him, we'll talk about that in a second. That's when he seemed hurt, but I mean, Allen threw some high kicks, and Curtis just ate him, kept coming forward. That's something that's really impressive with Curtis. The one thing I still dislike about Curtis is a little bit of fight IQ, and I'm thinking if it's a close fight. I mean, it seemed like everyone had a 2-2 heading into the fifth, and Allen is shooting, and you're sprawled out on top, and there was at one point he lets him up, and twice. Actually, I think it was twice he let him up late in fights. I'm like, dude, just jump on top of him, stay on top, and you're going to win the fight. Mm-hmm. Like, I still think he does things like that, and that wouldn't have, like Jack Hermanson would be in the same situation. Hermanson would have jumped down and won the fight.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think that's something that Curtis needs to do. I know you're not a doctor. The hamstring looked really bad.
Yeah, that looked really awful. And I hope it's nothing too serious, but I mean, it didn't look good. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's bad when he says, he heard a pop. So you hope and pray that it's just a hamstring pull, which it still could be serious. I mean, you still could be out for months with a hamstring pull.
I seriously had to laugh when the fight was over and Brendan Allen wanted to be friendly and sitting next to Curtis, and the referee was like, "Dude, move." Like,
yeah. He was hoping for that moment with the two guys laying that, was it when Lawler and Condit both were laying over the cage next to each other, and in one of those moments, and then you see Curtis like he's wincing, like, oh no. I was wondering if we would get a Merab situation where, remember when Merab got choked out by Simone, and he had to get up and answer it himself.
I was thinking about it, but I was like, I actually was also thinking about it because I remember when Merab was like he was like cycling out of the submission, and then the referee was like, "Are you good?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then the commission, I think the commission said to him, "You have to stay down. We're going to look how you are doing." And then they called it like a TKO by submission or whatever.
Yeah.
Still the latest stoppage in a 3-round fight. It's still crazy because they have 5-0-0 after 5 minutes. But I had the same thing, man. I was like, Curtis didn't stand up, but also Sean O'Malley never did against Andre Sukhumtov, right?
So yeah, that's true. Rhode Island's own Andre Sukhumtov could have had a win over the current champion.
Yeah.
Let's go about Brennan Allen. So after the fight, and guys, we're probably gonna do the prelims. I mean, let's be honest. For two reasons, we're gonna go pretty fast on the prelims. One, there's not too much to talk about, not much divisional relevance. But also, like next week, I'm saving myself. Me and Ben are going late next week. I mean, we're not gonna be breezing over many fights. I mean, we might be finishing at 5-6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, Big Marcel. Over there in Europe might be out cutting the grass or something by the time, or he might be eating lunch or something.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of happy that we have a week off after that event because it's gonna be a lot of things to do. Listen, man, I love it. I love the UFC. I love the MMA watching. But man, sometimes it's good to have a week off, man. And definitely after this amazing big event that's coming. So that's how I feel.
You got to get that summer break between 8th grade and go to 9th grade. You need that summer break. So Brennan Allen, he called the fight for the champion, the championship. I'm always good with guys calling the shots. It's the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So how we do this on this show. We don't say what we think the UFC is going to do. We do what a perfect world. Big Marcel's the boss. Big Marcel, you're running the UFC. You have Drake 2 plays. I know there's rumors of Adesanya fight is so close to getting done, but let's say you don't know anything. We don't know rumors that it's going on. What are you doing if you're the UFC next? For one, with the whole middleweight division, and then also specifically Brennan Allen.
Yeah. So I mean, it depends on what. It depends. If I might give him Cannonier. I like that fight. But at the same time, does a win over Cannonier really bring you somewhere? I don't know, man. I like his call out, to be honest, man. I mean, either Drickus or Sean, and I think it might be Sean, a rematch. I mean, he got through Curtis, and now he wants to have the teammate who had the belt, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I actually like that story. He was actually supposed to fight one teammate, Vettori. Vettori pulled out. He fight the other teammate that he lost to. Then he wins that fight, and now he has to fight the other teammate that he lost to as well, And if he wins that fight, then he can fight for a title. Then he has avenged all his losses in the UFC pretty much. So I would like that.
Yeah. So one thing about Big Marcel, if you guys are familiar, Big Marcel is a purist as they come. Ben's a little bit of a purist too. He doesn't care as much about the talk. Marcel's to the extreme. Big Marcel don't give a shit about trash talking. You don't need to sell Big Marcel on fights. If two guys are punching each other in the face, Big Marcel's interested. I'm the opposite. I love the trash talk. Within reason, people who are good at it, not people who suck at it, not really manufactured. Some people just shouldn't talk trash. That reason is, and I know a lot of people are saying, how many times are you going to give Adesanya a chance? Automatic rematches against Alex Pereira. He lost wins the belt again, loses to Strickland. Now you got to give him another shot right away. I'm giving Adesanya the shot. If they were from different countries, if they both weren't from Africa, if there wasn't all that heat going on, maybe I'd go somewhere else with it. But Adesanya to me is still one of the most marketable guys in the UFC. There's the backstory, so that leaves what I do with Allen. Jared Cannonier was a guy I thought about, and then Sean Strickland's a guy I thought about. It's got to be one of those two. I'm gonna go, and I feel like this poor Cannonier's going to be the odd guy out in this little mini tournament we're having in the middleweight division, because he's the old guy. He's not an exciting fighter. He's not an exciting personality. He has so many things going against him. So I'm leaving him out. If I'm Brennan Allen, I'm sticking away from that fight. You win, it really doesn't do it, even though me and you and all the people watching this knows how great of a win that is. It doesn't do anything for the public. I was working my normal job today, and I was at a thing, and somehow I started talking MMA with somebody, and the person was telling me about, I was asking me about certain fights, and it was pronouncing Chris Weidman's name wrong, calling him Chris Weidman, and then I'm just being kind and smiling, and then they mention, oh yeah, Sean Strickland, Strickland. I go, yeah, Sean Strickland. He goes, oh yeah, I love that guy. It's I he's like, yeah, I saw him get booked. I go, no, he didn't get booked for fight. He's like, no, he did. I'm like, no, he didn't. And he's like, no, I'm sure you should go check the news. And I'm like, trust me, like, you don't know who you're talking to. Trust me, I know he did not get booked. Like, I didn't say like I'm gonna do it. Like, if they were a real like MMA fan, I'd be like, oh, dude, you gotta check out my recap show. But when they like saying Chris Weidman's name wrong, I was like, you know. But my point is this person knew who Sean Strickland was.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm Brendan Allen, that's the fight I want. You know, he's a bigger talker. He's made beyond just MMA. He hasn't just become a star in MMA. He's become a crossover star because of the political takes and things he said. Like, I like Alex Cayley. I know you've done some stuff with Alex Cayley. He's actually good dude. Like him going after Alex Cayley at the press, the media day. Excuse me. Like that went beyond MMA. That became like a theme for, you know, society. Oh, you're a wimp. If you think like Alex Cayley, you know. So he's so marketable right now. Even though Strickland's a boring fighter the way he fights. I'm doing Allen versus Strickland. I'm putting on a pay-per-view because
we agree.
yeah. My long way to say we agree, but I'll put it on a pay-per-view. It has to. I'm not doing a fight night. It's got to be on pay-per-view, probably third from the top, because you got to have that. You got to have that press conference of Strickland saying crazy shit. So
somehow I was feeling you would put Bo Nickel in this talk, man.
I'm saving the Bo Nickel talk till next week. There'll be a lot of Bo Nickel talk.
Yeah.
Curtis is tough because we don't know what he's going to be now. I mean, if he popped his hamstring, if he tore his hamstring, we ain't seeing him for a year. You know, if he pulled it, it could be months. Let's play the hypothetical game. Let's say he's not hurt. Say it's just a cramp. It looked way worse than it is. What are you doing with Chris Curtis?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. What do we do with Chris Curtis? That's actually a really tough question.
I'll let you think about it.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Because I put you on the spot. Remember, mind you, Big Marcel wasn't prepared to come. He was just gonna pop in, say hi, and then close down and have an early night. I'm gonna go with Michelle Bahia, Mahmoud Muradov winner, especially if Michelle Bahia wins. To me, at that point, he'd be on a really run. He kind of deserves a big matchup in the division. Unfortunately, because of Curtis, he'll like win one, win two, lose one. Like he's kind of he hasn't really completely established himself, like only to fight top 10 guys. So to me, he's going to have to be that test for the guy down.
Okay, I go with the loser of Caio Borraio against Paul Craig, I think.
You're going with the loser?
The loser, yeah, because the winner will be up.
Some other ones, John Butterfield throws out RoboCop. Tufu Bucket gives it to Kopolov, which that guy, he's a really fun prospect. So, anything else you want to talk about the main event? Anything we didn't cover?
No, I'm pretty through.
All right. Before that, Alex Hernandez took on Damian Jackson. Close fight, but I checked MMA decisions. I thought maybe someone would give it to Hernandez. No one did. It was 14-0 on MMA decisions. Just tell me your thoughts on this fight.
Yeah, man. I think Damon Jackson won the first two rounds, in my opinion. You know, that's how I look at it. I think he did pretty well, man. I thought he was physically strong. He came through a couple of times. Third round, Hernandez tagged him, dropped him. You know, thought he might finish him with a submission, but he didn't. You know, I think Damon came back well, but yeah, man, overall, I felt like Damon Jackson did pretty well, man, in the fight. You know, even in the third round, he did pretty well after that, you know. And I thought Alexander Hernandez, yeah, I still feel like the dude has so much potential, but for somehow it doesn't come out, you know. And at 145, missed weight again, you know. I don't know, man. And I think Damon Jackson won. I think Adelaide Byrd had a 30-27 for Alexander Hernandez. She's out of her damn mind, if I can say that here.
You are not a fan of Miss Bird.
Yeah, I would say it the same if it was somebody else who got it 30-27. Or was it Brian Minor? Also really weird scorecard. Could be him as well. But yeah, I mean, I think Damon Jackson won the first 2 rounds, in my opinion. So yeah, I thought Hernandez needed to finish in the third, which he didn't get, and overall a good fight, a competitive fight, but another fight I'll remember next year probably.
Yeah, you remember it when like David Jackson's coming up again, and you check the fight and you're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah. I was surprised at that one of the judges scored it for Hernandez. I thought Jackson won the first 2 rounds. I thought they were close rounds, but take down the control.
Mhm.
Jackson, to me, he's just a smart fighter. I mean, him initiating wrestling when Hernandez circled close to the cage. I mean, it was so obvious it was going to come, and like, how did Hernandez not expect it? I mean, he was putting himself in the exact area. I was like, like it was like he was backing himself into like a into like a corner, as like like a horror movie where like the bad guys coming and they don't run off to like down the road. They like hide in like a corner, and like Hernandez, I think his cardio looked much better, but then you always have to question, well, yeah, if he dropped the other 2 pounds, because those are the ones that are really hard, would his cardio look better?
Yeah, I mean, remember the Billy Carantillo fight? He looked like a world beater in the first round, and then completely gone in the second. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So David Jackson, he's a fan favorite of the Shillan Duffy Show. Just continues to pull in upset wins as he won a split decision. Probably the most controversial decision is, and you're gonna have to help me with the pronunciation because you're much better with your French than I am.
Morgan Charrière.
There you go, Morgan Charrière and Chepe Mariscal. Mariscal won a split decision. Big Marcel, how'd you score this one?
So the first round, I went with Chepe Mariscal because I thought like he was more pressuring. I think he did damage as well. Had some takedowns. I think Charrière did well. Second round, I think Charrière did much more. I hit him a lot. Could prevent some takedowns and did very well. Third round, I think Charrière was up until the last 30 seconds pretty much, and I think there is where Mariscal scored or stole the fight for the judges, and it was crazy because Mariscal looked like he was like really gassed at a certain moment, and you saw Charrière was still more fit, I think, than Mariscal was, but he was also gassing later in the third round. But I feel like Charrière gave it away, man, in the last 20, 30 seconds. And maybe it's not fair because overall, I think in the round he was better. But that's what the judges see, man, the last 30 seconds. And if you give away a few hammer fists to the face in the last 15 seconds like that, yeah, I mean, you can get screwed. But judges close on.
Yeah, no, I understand. I got no issue with anybody who gave it to Mariscal. Like
I feel the same way.
I scored it for Charrière. I gave him the first round. To me, Mariscal, he was pressing the action. He was throwing a lot. He was shooting a lot. But to me, he wasn't landing. And the shots that actually were landing were to Charrière. But I understand it. Like, Marcel's the definition of a pressure fighter where he's on the gas the whole time. And he has the optics. It looks good. If you're sitting in a cage and one guy is shooting, he's the other guy, he's not getting taken out, but he's defending. He's in the position he doesn't want to be in. He's have to underhook. He's got to, he's got a knee block. He's got to do all the stuff he doesn't want to do. He can't let his hands go where he really wants to. He spends the majority of the round doing that. Yeah, he had moments in that round he was landing, but I get why anybody would score the first round for Mariscal. So I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I have Leonard Garcia a 30-0 record.
and then the third round, to me, it's what Mariscal does. He is a dog.
He is.
It was in this 50-50 position. And he dug deeper and found a way to put himself, on top and land the better shots. I scored the first round for Charrière, but I understand. I looked at MMA decisions. MMA decision had 9-3 Charrière, but I think if you asked everyone across the board, like, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with it. It is what it is. I agree with you. It was the last 30 seconds. That said, I still feel better about Charrière moving forward. Like, I think he has the higher upside. I think he's the one who's going to go further in the sport. I think he's got the tools. I don't think he looked bad. I just think it's it's just Mariscal is that kind of guy that's going to always make it tough, and he's going to outperform what his skill level looks. He just has that dog in him.
Yeah, it's like what Adam would say on our podcast. He fights for your money. You know what I mean? That's pretty much how you can call Mariscal. You know, he comes in, he makes it a dirty fight in a good way. I mean that, you know, and man, he fights till the end. You know, so yeah, I respect it a lot.
He's probably a coach's dream. Where if you're a coach, you don't have to give one of those hoorah motivation speeches. You're like, you know, you're gonna get it. He's that like. That Rudy, I know you ever watch Rudy, Big Marcel? Or is that's not popular in
Who's
Europe?
Rudy? I'm sorry.
No, never mind. I'm not going to go down that. The Americans would have got that. Americans would have got that reference. Before that, this one will be real quick. Chris Santiago's taking on Ignacio Bahamondes. Bahamondes getting a first round walk off, Mirko Cro Cop style left high kick to the face, followed by 1 or 2 shots on the ground. But Bahama, I know you're a big, you dig deep into the prospect. Bahamondes was the guy when he came to the UFC. I liked him a lot. He's had some up and down moments, but this is his top is as good as it comes. Like when he's hitting his peak, I think his upside is up there. Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, great fighter, man. I really like to watch him, and this was a great finish, you know. And it's not even his best finish. His best finish is still the Roosevelt Roberts one.
Yeah, absolutely. This guy's putting him in his young age. Yagos is probably the best name of a guy he's beaten. I think like the toughest. This is Bahamas, I mean, he looked like a sniper. I mean, he's landing those long shots from the outside, very accurate. I love that he was going. I love what he set up. He was going from the orthodox stance, teep kick to the body, throw a high kick over there. Then he switches the other side. Then he throws a high kick. Just that time of the adjustment. It was almost like it's not a switch kick where you switch your legs and go up, but the way he switched his stance and then went up, it was almost like a switch kick because he completely changed which side the attack was coming on. And I mean, he landed Diego thought he was going to the body, so he dropped his hands, went right over the top. I mean, it was beautiful.
By the way, I always respect it a lot, man, when somebody knocks a guy out or sees that he's done no follow-up punches. You know, I mean,
yeah,
I like that a lot. Sorry.
Yeah, I always think of like Leo Machida when he bowed over him instead of like hitting him with another shot
against Mark Munoz.
Yeah. Bows over him, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
thinking of Mark Munoz's son just became another All-American. He was the NCAA's a week ago. They kept showing Mark Munoz in the crowd, so his son's a killer. I know Big West.
You go and watch full wrestling during the Olympics, probably, right, Keith?
What?
During the Olympics, you'll be like, so I was actually watching 3 different wrestling tournaments this weekend. I had a couple of my son's teammates, the girls, were at the Reno World Championship. Two of our girls are both killers. Then we had pretty much the entire team. I got to look. The finals is going on now. We have about 5 of our teammates in the finals of Virginia Beach National. That's a really good tournament. And like 5 of the guys on my son's wrestling team. My son's the youngest kid on the team. He's only 9, so he's not going to these big ones. And then there was still the last chance qualifier. So the way the Olympics works for America, you have to win certain tournaments or qualify so high to get into a final, what they call the Olympic trials. This was they're called the last chance qualifier. So everybody who didn't make it, who has certain credentials, enters this tournament, and the winner is the last guy into the Olympic trials. Then you got to do the whole Olympic trials. So, but Bahamas, what I want to say about Muhammad, and I know you agree with me on this. This dude's only 26. Yeah, he's had some losses, but I say ignore those losses. I think this guy's going to go on run. Like he's at the age where he's just time proven, and we're going to have one of those where we go, dude, remember when Bahamondes lost to John McDessie? Is that the weirdest thing? Like, I think we're going to have one of those. What's his debut, right?
Yeah, we're going to be like, John McDessie beat Bahamondes? How crazy is that, you know?
I mean, he also lost last time to Ludovic Klein, but I think Klein is legit. You can't lose to him. Good. Yeah, so and Bahamondes is still young, and I feel like he improves. So I think he's a fun guy to watch, and let's see what will be his next fight. Looking forward to it, man. He's bringing the heat all the time, you know.
Give me one name real quick. I'll put you on the spot. Who'd you
I
match?
you love to do this. You love to put me on the spot, man. I'm just now talking a lot because I try to think in my head while I'm talking.
Yeah.
Who I'm gonna put him against.
It is unfair. No, you mind you. I have notes next to me. I'm taking Big Marcel's not doing that. He knew he was gonna be on the show, so I'm taking notes. I've prepared about, I don't know, 6 hours before doing the show.
Okay, I have one for you.
All right.
I give him not the winner, but I give him the loser of Michael Johnson met Favola.
Okay. Okay. Man, I couldn't imagine what he would do to Michael Johnson. I mean, Favola's tough because of his style, but Michael Johnson, oh my God, I think he'd murk him. Yeah, and that's a good veteran test, though. That's a good veteran test. That's why you're the best in the biz. Before that, Trevor Peek took on Charlie Campbell. Charlie Campbell won your decision. Is Trevor Peek Justin Gaethje with like 5% of his skills?
You could say that. Yeah, Trevor Peek's kind of crazy.
I don't care how many times this guy loses. To me, sign him up for like a life contract of just he's like a Tasmanian devil. I love the guy.
Yeah, he's full of energy. He kind of also kind of remind me of the way of the energy kind of Nate Landwehr last week. You know, it's also the kind of crazy energy.
Okay, I'll go 10% of the skill of Nate Landwehr, or maybe 15% of the skill of Nate Landwehr. But yeah, like same like berserker style.
Yeah.
Campbell's slick though. I thought he looked really. I thought his striking was good and accurate. I liked his wrestling. I loved how he was, getting on the hips and turning the corner before Peek even knew what was going on. I'm not going to say like he said I'm the best guy in the world when he beat Trevor Peek, but I don't know if I had the best read on him before. I did definitely think it's hard to take Peek over anybody at this level. But I feel like Campbell's a guy that, and I'm making my little notes. I'm putting a little bit of an arrow. Like, I think he looked good tonight.
I agree. I give him Morgan Charrier in this next fight, actually.
Oh, that's
I think that can be another fight of the night. I actually don't know what this fight of the night before. I know you guys normally do that later, so I haven't checked it out, so I have no idea. But I think that could be a fight of the night. I would love to see it, man. I think
I'll give it to you later. I just checked. It might surprise you, but before that, not the fight of the night. Court McGee took on Alex Moreno in the fill-in two veterans. Alex Moreno, obviously, he's a fan favorite here at of the Shillan Duffy Show, as Ben, my normal co-host, actually trains. That's his head coach, Alex Moreno. He does jiu-jitsu under Alex Moreno. So, Ben's very biased, but I'm rooting for my boy's friend, or coach. So, I'll say this about Court McGee, and I'll say this about Alex Moreno. Court McGee, to me, has more left in the tank than I thought he did. Right. And Moreno has less in the tank than I thought he did.
I can't agree with that assessment, to be honest. I thought that Moreno would have not an easy fight, but an easier fight than he had against McGee. Let's put it that way.
I thought he was going to put. I mean, I know Court McGee just signed like a 4-fight contract, so he's probably not going to go for a while. But I thought it was going to be one of the ones where, we're like, oh my God, this guy is completely shot. It's unfair to the UFC to continue to book a guy like that. And while he didn't look good, I still think his lack of athleticism at this point of his career is he's always been a lack of athleticism guy, but he can't press the pace that he used to. Like, he can make up for it by pressing a pace, heavy wrestling as he's aged, and obviously all these injuries. I mean, he just had neck surgery and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's really add up. He can't wrestle at the pace that he used to. He can't press the action pace. So between that, the lack of athleticism, I thought the durability was finally going to fade out. And the durability is still there. And that's why I'm saying he still has a little bit more than I expected. Moreno, to me, was the speed. Like, he's losing speed, and it's getting there pretty fast. I mean, he never was the biggest puncher. I just thought this was the perfect stylistic matchup, and it's coming down to where he's going to win the third round to win it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's pretty much like that. Yeah, and I was like, there was not like there was not a lot in it, in my opinion. You felt like at a certain moment, you felt like Moreno was going to win,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, there was not really like I wasn't really like how do you say that, invested in the fight at a certain moment anymore, because I felt like, yeah, we're going to go to a decision and Moreno's going to win.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's actually a good point. A pretty wild fight in this next one. Kind of was all over the place. Lucas Bresky took on a UFC newcomer, Johnny Walker's brother, Walter Walker, with Bresky winning a decision. Really close fight. I think it could have gone either way. MMA decisions, which had my scorecard on there, had it 7-5 for Walker. I did give it to Walker. I'm okay with the Bresky win. Big Marcel, how did you score?
first, I want to ask you a question: is Walter Walker the first fighter in the UFC who uses the first name of his brother as his last name?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is Walter Walker the first fighter in the UFC who are using his brother's first name as his last name?
So his brother's first name as his own last name.
Johnny Walker is actually called Walker Johnny Sousa de Barra or something, you know?
Oh, okay.
So he's pretty much using his
Yeah.
brother's first name as his last name.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the Walker name is kind of took on like a little bit of like the Pitbulls, like the Pitbull
Yeah.
brothers, where they're using. I mean, I know it's their nickname, but they call Pitbull this and Pitbull that, or when the Gracies, like they started getting Gracies that weren't really Gracies using their name and stuff, like with Vitor Gracie originally, and
Yeah, Belfort, right?
yeah, Vitor
Yeah.
Belfort was really called Vitor Gracie, and Daniel Gracie is using the Gracie last name, but he's not. It's not really his last name. So who did you score it for?
Yeah, about the fight. I thought Walker was going to win the fight, to be honest. I thought Walker was going to win the fight, but I didn't dislike the Bresky win, because I felt like that Walker was like really just pretty much hanging on him at a certain moment, and Bresky at least tried to do something, I really feel like, and I hate to say this normally, but I was Adam and I talking about fraud checking sometimes, that really felt like a fraud check, dude.
Yeah,
Walker.
I like that.
I mean, yeah,
like you're holding up the money to the light to see if it's not real.
yeah.
I think that's a good way to say it. This is really low level guys. You come in the UFC, you take on Bresky, regardless if, and I think the majority scored it for Walker, but I mean it's close enough, almost 50-50 on MMA decisions.
Let's be honest.
The
UFC made this fight for Walker to look good. Bresky was 0-3, was on his last fight on his contract. They were like, Walker's undefeated. Let's give him Bresky. Let's give him a good debut in the UFC. And he pretty much he screwed it up,
Yeah, and not only having the weak guy, but the weak stylistic guy, the guy who's weak at defending takedowns. Like I think they expected him to take him down and just ground and pound him.
Yeah.
Kind of looking like the Alex Nicholson fight, where he just wears him out and finally just defeats him with the ground. I know Nicholson quit and hurt his ribs or some shit, but I'm not a big Alex Nicholson one, but I almost feel like this is a step down from Nicholson, and he didn't pass it. I mean, I don't think he's as gassed as he looked, because he looks like that in every fight, where his striking defense is so bad. I mean, he simply just pulls his head straight back, and Bresky did enough. I don't know if he did enough to win the fight. Like I still think he was taken down, and I thought Walker did enough on the ground, but not enough apparently. So Walker gets the win. I'm gonna go with a fight that's we're probably gonna cover this longer than the rest of the prelims. Former champion Germaine De Randamie returned to the UFC, taking on Norma Dumont. Dumont winning a unanimous decision. I made an argument that this fight should have been the co-main event based on paper, based on the media coverage this week. It was definitely the second most talked about fight in the division relevance, everything. But boy, did this fight suck! Yeah. I thought both fighters looked terrible, both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, want me to talk about it?
Yeah, because I'm going to go on a
Yeah.
rant in a second, so I'm gonna
Oh,
let
yeah.
you. I'm gonna let you talk about it.
So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Germaine came back after 3.5 years without a fight. She just didn't look like herself, in my opinion. First round and third round, she couldn't pretty much stand up after Norma took her down. And Norma was holding on for dear life to keep the fight on the ground. And to keep the dominant position there. People are like, maybe referee should have done something. I was like, maybe.
Oh, I'm going to
And
go
yeah,
off on
yeah,
that in a second. I'm going to go off.
Okay, yeah, but on the other hand, in my opinion, if you're the fighter who is on your back, you should make sure to get off. To get to at least to do something to get in a better position. But yeah, there was pretty much no warning for inactivity or whatever, so that was kind of weird. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, Norma won 1-3. That's pretty clear. Germaine won the second round with knees to the cage, to the body, pretty much. Just a bad fight. My colleague talked to Germaine after the fight, and she was like, "Yeah, it was a bad showing. She'll be back." She said it wasn't her last fight, but yeah, listen, man, biggest win for Norma in her career. But and she finally made 135 or 136. She made, but yeah, it was a sucky fight, man.
Yeah, there's definitely some positives for Norma Dumont. First, obviously, like you mentioned, anytime you beat a former champion, regardless, and a former champion, I mean, I know she's been out for 3.5 years, but she was on a run prior to being out.
Mm-hmm.
So, definitely the biggest name, making weight in the division obviously is a good thing. I mean, even though I don't think Norma looked good, like it's not in the realm possibly of her winning the title. Like she's still like good enough where that division, like she could beat Raquel Pennington. I'm not picking her to, but she could. Why, to answer John Butterfield saying the fight didn't suck, Norma Dumont landed 11 significant strikes and won the fight. She landed 11 significant strikes, and not a single one of those strikes hurt Germaine De Randamie the entire time. So, I mean, it's like, you got to ask what's considered significant versus total. But, okay. Germaine De Randamie, it's tough coming back. She kind of got thrown to, I mean, as much as you can for women's bantamweight, kind of got thrown to the wolves. Upper in the division, didn't get like a layup in her return. She, and this has happened in all her losses. I mean, even Menendez, you wrestle her and she loses. I mean, but she also makes it harder on herself. Like she threw a leg kick, she threw a leg kick, and then it's like, okay, didn't like mix up, hide anything, and she throws a kick, and no one just reaches down, grabs it, trips her over. That's out of the first round. Second round, she actually ended up getting back up to the feet, but she starts landing some good shots, and then she really steps in and telegraphs this one punch, and Norma Dumont just ducks under it, takes her down. And then the third, Norma Dumont, it's 1-1. She just shoots a double leg from super far away. Should have been sprawled out on. Instead, she gets the takedown. But worse is no urgency on the ground. Like she's sitting closed guard, not digging underneath, not using those big long legs to push her opponent off, not digging for undercut, trying to like hip heist out, nothing. Just giving moments away. Now, this is the issue I have. I understand the argument that if this is a fight, someone shouldn't stand you up. I understand that. I really do. And generally, you don't hear me call for stand-ups. But Keith Peterson, Norma Dumont was on top for 9 minutes, landed 11 strikes. First round, she spent 2 minutes without throwing a punch. In the third round, she spent 3 straight minutes without throwing a strike. She spent 2 minutes in side control, like one hand around her head in side control, and didn't move. And just had her head ducked down in like De Randamie's armpit. And I can only say, she was going for the head and arm trick. She wasn't even on the right side.
True.
And all she was doing was holding on. Now, super smart from Norma Dumont. Play it safe, get the fight to the ground. If the referee's she's not even getting warned, why change it? Super smart, no beef on Norma Dumont. But Keith Peterson, like, just come out and say, you'll never do a stand-up. Now, this is the issue, I think, is the apex. If that's in front of a crowd, you stick that fight last week in Atlantic City, Germaine De Randamie might win that fight, and I'll tell you why. The crowd would have been going crazy. And now a referee could say, I don't listen to the crowd. I'm not going to stand him up. But when the entire arena is going crazy for the boos, you're a human being, you hear it, and it
True.
just reminds you, like, man, maybe nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Now, maybe that booze makes Norma do more. Maybe because of that, I don't want to play the what ifs all day. Maybe Norma does more because she does more. She that's why she established herself on the ground. Yeah, ultimately, this comes down to Germaine De Randamie inability to get up and bottom and show no urgency. That said, and I think, and back up against him, Germaine De Randamie needs to sell it a little bit. There was times when she's looking up at the ref. She should have been like, ref, what the fuck? Like, they kind of sell it with their hands. Like, she's not doing anything. Like, at one point, she could just put her hands up, like, hey, he's not doing it. Like, she needs to sell it a little bit herself. But let's do this. Norma Dumont, I mean, she's a top contender. That division is wide open now. Now that with Amanda Nunes leaving, anytime there's a new champion, it kind of opens up the whole division. What are you doing, Norma Dumont? Who's she fight next?
I put her in the main event against Myra. No, just kidding. No, just kidding. No, I'll give her. I give her somebody higher in the division. Maybe I do. I do the Yana Kunitskaya fight. Maybe the Yana Santos fight.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you, like, when you answer those little riddles. That if this, then do this. If that, then do this. You kind of follow the path. Mm-hmm. So I kind of think about the top of the division. Obviously, Raquel Penning's the champion. Who's next in line? You still have former champion Juliana Pena's an option. The other option, I think, Norma Dumont, based on the little streak she's on. Then you have Holly Holman and you have Kayla Harrison. Obviously, they're fighting each other a week from now. Well, who deserves the title shot of those the most? I don't know. I mean, Julia Penning's coming off a loss. Holly Holm, I mean, how many times are we going to watch Holly Holm versus Raquel Pennington? Kayla Harrison, if she wins, should be 1-0 in the UFC. You could make an argument that Norma Dumont, I mean, now she's only 1-0, 1-0 in the division. So that's the argument against her. But based on the overall work, you could argue, maybe, it's Norma Dumont. I am not giving her a title shot. Okay, just for that. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I don't see. Go ahead.
Okay. So I really kind of leave her out of the title picture because she's the least she is marketable because she's a beautiful woman, but she's the least name of the other compared to the other three.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington's done. You can't sell that. Okay. You have Juliana Pena and you have Kayla Harrison. All right, who's the most sellable? Well, it's Kayla Harrison, right? So that's what I do. If Holly Holm beats Kayla Harrison and you can't make that shot, then I'm giving Norma Dumont versus Holly Holm. If Holly Holm loses to Kayla Harrison, I'm giving Kayla Harrison the title shot, and I'm giving Norma Dumont to Juliana Pena. Now, of course, if people say, "Hey, Keith, what do you do with Raquel Pennington if Holly Holm beats Kayla Harrison?" Well, then I give Juliana Pena the title shot. So there you go. That's what you get.
I think if you do Holly Holm against Norma Dumont, I think Dana would be really happy to put that in the Apex as a main event again. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, for them, just make it 145 anyways. I know we got rid of the 145, but for them too, just make it 145.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Germaine De Randamie, to me, because she's the former champion, you could still kind of market her. I'm taking a big step back for her. Because I just kind of named the whole division right there, top people. I don't want her to fall too back. I kind of want to get her a matchup where she might win. I'm going to give her against the girl we saw tonight. I'm going to put her against Cornelia, how you say her name? The girl in the opener.
Why not? I mean, she's a striker as well. 2 strikers would be fun. Yeah.
All right. Before that, Victor Hugo took on Pedro Falco. Taking the fight on 3 or 4 days' notice. The point that me and Ben actually previewed Victor Hugo's other opponent. So that's how short notice it was. Big Marcel, what was your thoughts on Falco before he came in the UFC?
I thought he was a decent fighter, pretty decent on the ground. That's what I thought about him.
Okay.
And I didn't do too much checking him, to be honest. Only 3 days.
Sure.
He's been in the Contender Series, yeah, but that's been some time ago. So, but yeah, why are you asking this specific
Just
question? Oh, okay. Maybe I thought you wanted to go somewhere. Yeah.
no. I just I don't know if you had some insight. This is what I'll say about this guy. I kind of will always give anybody a pass when it's 3 days notice. Like you kind of coming in. One, you have no time to prepare specifically your opponent because you got to cut weight. So your entire I just made the UFC. Wow, this is so crazy. Everyone's so excited to me. I'm getting all these messages. Oh, you find the UFC, and I get to just focus on making weight. That's what happens when you have short notice. You don't get that you have 10 weeks. You get that 2 weeks. Everyone messaging you, your friends saying, "Hey, oh, how great it is." And you see, then you kind of, all right, this is where I need to be at for weight, and you spend more time focusing on improvement in your opponent. He didn't get that, so I'm going to give him a pass on his performance. All right, I think both guys fought the complete opposite. And let me explain what I mean by this. Falcone has limited skill set. He had a very limited window to win, but he tried every opportunity to get to that window and win. And that was to get the fight to the ground and win by grappling. The problem is he is a guy who grapples without strong overall wrestling. So he struggled to get the fight to the ground. Now, mind you, I am going to give him a pass. Like I said, he's, so Hugo has a bunch of skill set, and he did the opposite. He gave him every opportunity to lose. He circled the cage, put himself right where Falco wants to be, similar to what Hernandez was doing, in the fight earlier that we talked about.
Yeah, against Jackson.
Against Jackson, yeah. He's doing spinning wheel kicks, which is giving Falco opportunities to kind of get behind him. He kept doing all this stuff. And he's just trying to give the fight away. Dude, you're so much better. Just throw a jab. And I just overall, I thought both guys looked bad.
Yeah, but like you said, I give Falcao a pass because it's a 3 days notice fight. So.
Yeah, I just think this was a tailor-made fight for Hugo to have this wonderful performance. And yeah, I was not impressed. And then the refereeing was bad. He kicked Falco in the groin 3 different times. They only called one, and one was a spinning back kick right to the balls.
But Keith, it was Chris Toyoni. That dude sucks.
Yeah, I know. But isn't it who is good anymore? And I understand when a referee makes the right call, we never talk about it. So I understand it's like the the police officer who makes the right arrest and no one ever mentions that, but then make the wrong arrest. That's what everyone talks about. Or get on. You know what I mean? But I get that they never get credit for the good stoppages.
I'll give credit to Jason Herzog, who's normally overall pretty good. I think Mark Goddard is overall pretty good. He's kind of a little bit loud sometimes, but I don't really mind it.
He puts himself a little bit too much into it.
Yeah, he's kind of acting
Mark
like
Smith's okay. Mark Smith's okay.
Yeah. I always like Beltran, but he has some questionable stoppages as of lately as well.
Oh, he had a tough night the other day. He was stopping everything early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like Keith Peterson was not good tonight.
Gary Copeland was horrible last week.
Yeah. Oh, Kato. Yeah, you seen? I was thinking that's what I was thinking. Gary Copeland. You said Beltran. I was thinking of Copeland. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I was mixing them up for a second. What's that other guy? McDonald. What's his first name?
What's McDonald's name again? His first name.
Yeah. There's another guy. Anyways.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And Jaron Vallel. Oh.
that's not, yeah. But Chris Tyone is might be
Kevin McDonald.
Kevin McDonald. Yeah, Kevin McDonald. Tyone is as bad as hell. Ben likes to rip on Tyone a lot. So,
bro, if Chris Tyone was my referee, I probably wouldn't step in the octagon. For
that's
real.
It, huh?
That's how badly I think he is, man. I mean, Jesus, I just can't stand him. I really can't stand him. I think if he sees me and he knows what I said all about him, he probably punches me in the face when he sees me. That's how badly I talk about him.
I think you'd take him though.
Yeah, who knows? I'm just gonna sit on him and he's dead probably. But I'm just kidding. But oh man, it's so bad. It's total trash. I cannot stand him.
Something I do like, both these two guys in the next fight, Dan Argueta versus
Yeah.
Jane Matsumoto. Matsumoto winning by second round sub. Argueta's going to be a tough. You know how we talked about Cheppy Mariscal being
Hmm.
a really tough out for anybody based on his style. Argueta's going to be the same way. Argueta's on the gas, wrestling. I was blown away with Matsumoto's performance. Just the mental focus where this guy's getting to my hips. He's taking me down. I'm not going to get to my offense, but he just kept hip heisting out, pressing back up, hip heisting. And he never he was wearing Argueta out with his own wrestling because Argueta, he's doing his work, get the fight to the ground. As soon as he's getting it down, he's right back up. And then when he had his moments, he was landing good shots. And then he finally slick sub. In this kid's age, this is the guy I liked him. I liked him a lot heading into the UFC. He was the guy that I'm like, I talked him up on the preview show. I'm like him even more now. I'm like, yo, watch out for my boy Matsumoto. Agree. I mean, are you that high on me? Are you in? I'm driving the train.
I mean, like in my Dutch podcast, I have to do a weekly prelim pick, like the one to watch. And my one to watch was Sean Matsumoto. So, I mean, that guy, he impressed me on the Contender Series last time. He was, I think he did well against Argueta in the first round. Argueta was like super heavy grappling with him, but he never accepted the position. You know what I mean? And that's big, because sometimes you see the guys accepting the position, and he wasn't,
Yeah,
and that
like De Randamie did. Like De Randamie, he accepted
exactly.
being on bottom. He did not accept. He didn't accept an inch. He didn't accept like I'm going to give you this inch. He worked every second. I like the way you said that. Accepted.
Yeah, it's like that, and if you see that, it builds confidence as well. I think for the fighter when he gets out of these positions and can get back up. At a certain moment, Argueta kept going for it, and he grabbed that guillotine super slick, man. And it was like I think 1 second to go, and Argueta tapped, and people were like, "Why he tapped?" He was basically out of it. He pretty much tapped at he tapped at the last moment he could tap. He was out.
Yeah, when he woke up, it was like there was this daze. Like he looked like he almost stopped fighting again. Like he didn't know where he was. I mean, I get he's a gamer, dude. That guy's
for sure.
He's not a guy that like 1 second's getting tired. I'm gonna tap. His body failed him at that point.
I feel bad for the dude as well. He got 2 no contests. I know he lost to Johns, but before that fight against Lawrence, it sucks so much to get a no contest from that.
I know. You're right. Yeah, because he was winning that one. That was a bad stoppage that went against him.
Wasn't that Chris Toyoni again?
If not, just blame Coyote. every like bad decision in the world, we'll just blame Chris Coyote.
Now I'm going to search for it. Now I have to know who it was, man.
Like invading the Bay of Pigs, that was Chris Coyote's decision. Everything. The person riding the boat in Baltimore, that was Chris Coyote.
It was Keith Peterson, actually.
Oh, you know what? I already dogged on him too, so they were together on that boat. Before that, another guy, kind of hard to call this guy a prospect based on his age, but making his UFC debut, Cesar Almeida take on another guy taking his UFC debut, Dylan Bucka, Cesar Almeida pulling an upset victory. I mean, Bucka's cardio, like he was trying to fight the way Dan Argueta, Chepe Mariscal, he tried to fight that way without the car. Like you have to have a huge gas tank. And it's funny, his cardio looked better on the short notice Contender Series fight than he did in this one. You have to have insane cardio to wrestle at that pace for that long. Yeah. I mean, the best guys in the world wrestle for 7 minutes, and it's not a nonstop on your hips running. It's not like that. So to double that time at that pace, I mean, that's insane. I was watching a Chael Sonnen podcast, and he has this, this goofy personality, but he does sometimes have really good insights on things. And one thing he said, why so many strikers have gone on to be successful, is you can't, if you come into, you're a successful striker and you got to learn wrestling, it's hard to learn all of wrestling. So what they have been able to do is either be good at stopping the initial shot or be good at getting up when you get taken down. Almeida, he did it in his last fight and did it in this fight. He's good at getting up. He won't stop the initial stop, but it's very Alex Pereira. Like Alex Pereira does not have good takedown defense, but he's hard to hold down. And that's what kind of happened to Almeida. And when he gets up, he's on the gas throwing those shots, those body shots. I like this dude a lot.
I think he looked good and he played it smart, First round he had the difficulties with the grappling, but he pretty much he was never in any danger, you know what I mean? And Budka had literally cardio for 4.5 minutes, I felt. It's like you said, you cannot do that, you cannot keep doing that. And man, Almeida was just waiting for his chance that Budka couldn't really do anything anymore. And he was like, okay, now you're done, I'm going to finish. And yeah, he looked good, man. Dude is still a little bit older, he comes from kickboxing. I think he fought 3 times against Alex Pereira. He won 1, so he has a win over Alex Pereira in kickboxing. It's like they're getting all these guys from kickboxing, like in the middleweight division, right? Adesanya Pereira, Cesar Almeida now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll give it to it. Kickboxing is making a run right now. That's not something there was a time where that was laughable, the kickboxers coming over, and now they've been making a run. And so to me, it wasn't a perfect performance because on the post fight, he called for a fight with Chris Weidman, and anybody knows what I'm saying when it comes to Chris Weidman. I got Chris Weidman's next opponent already booked, and this is what I said.
Bo Nickel probably.
It's Bo Nickel.
Yeah, I knew it.
How could it not be? How could it not be? It's the perfect. I said this a while ago. Chris Weidman shouldn't have fought last weekend. He should have been fighting this weekend against Bo Nickel. Because, again, if Bo wins, you get exactly what he wants. He beats a name like the person that I talked to this day who thinks Chris Weidman's a stud. He gets a name. He beats a former champion. Plus, you get the big name on UFC 300 as he kind of deserves it. And if Weidman wins, you kind of get the excitement back about the guy because he just beat Bo Nickel. Like having Cody Brennan is just nothing other than give octagon time for Bo Nickel or a chance to get a huge upset. And well, Bo Nickel sucks. He just lost to Cody Brennan, and you get nothing with Brennan winning. So, anyways, Bo's next fight needs to be Chris Weidman. Use him before he's completely shot. And Juice XS, I have a question. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? I mean, I know that's The Rock from WWE. Am I missing something? I don't get the reference. Is there something I don't know about The Rock?
No idea.
Is Almeida The Rock? I don't know. I don't get you. Juice, you gotta explain that a little bit. Maybe I don't know. Melissa, I mean, I'm sure it's very clear. The Rock is wrestling tonight.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. He's wrestling. Is WrestleMania tonight?
I have no idea, man. Is
that wrestling? Yeah. Hey, that's where Ben is actually. You know what I tell you? Where's wrestling? First of all, where is WrestleMania? Anybody know? Is WrestleMania? It's WrestleMania, isn't it? Because when I used to watch all the time, yes, it's WrestleMania. When I used to watch all the time was April. So wrestling. I mean, I figure The Rock is not wrestling at like some small show. So where is it being held? That's where Duffy is? Is he? I was gonna make a joke. I'll say, is that really where Duffy is? Because, dude, if Duffy's at WrestleMania and he didn't want to tell me, I'm gonna give him so much shit. He just told me. He told me he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be at this thing. If he's there, are we being serious? Are we joking? Come on, let me know. Is that really where Duffy is, or is this a joke? Because if it is, I think it's cool as hell that he's there. But I have no idea, guys. Just so the record, I don't know where is WrestleMania. Anyway, somebody help me out. I'm sure someone will put it in the chat where it's being held. I know what city that Ben is in. So if they say that city, I'm going to give Ben a lot of shit. Who's the Rock going in? I know Big Marcel. So guys, help me out. You're not yet giving me these answers. Where's it happening? Who's the Rock wrestling? Who's the Philadelphia. So yeah, so okay, so that was but so Ben is not at Ben. So I should, you know what? Philly's not that far from me, but Big Marcel. I should have reached out to Sherdog and send me to I actually know where I don't know if Ben wants me to tell where he is, but I'll give you a hint. Ben's in my favorite city in America, one of my favorite cities in America. I talk about it a lot. So there's people who listen to it will know. And the first fight of the night, Melissa Mullins took on Nora Cornello in a bantamweight-ish fight as both fighters missed.
Yeah, really weird.
So they said, I didn't even know this. If both fighters miss weight, there's no penalty.
Yeah, I heard that as well. That was the first time I heard that.
You know what they should do?
No?
Instead of, like, I don't think if you miss weight, you shouldn't be like sitting in the back. I hope my opponent misses, so they'll take away money. They should take your 20% and take your opponent's 20%, and then give it to the person who had to cut the most weight on short notice and made weight. Like that money could be going to Falco. Like, oh, you made on 3 days notice? Okay, hey, you got these two girls who couldn't make it in 10 weeks. Here's all their money too.
Yeah, but I also heard that I think Cornoli said at the end of the interview, she said like during the cut, she asked for like a catch weight or something, you know. So we went to we agreed on a catch weight. I don't know.
Oh, like one of those ones like they're both like that week they said, hey, I'm kind of heavy. I'm kind of heavy too. Let's just meet at like 138 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm okay with that. But I hope it wasn't like, hey, your opponent missed weight. You want to just stop weight? Because I'm like, if anything, I want to do the opposite. Like, I want to get her money too.
Yeah, that's what a lot of fighters always tell me as well. Like, if my opponent misses weight, I make sure I make the weight so I get 20 or 30%. You know.
Yeah, so, yeah. Let me ask you this: so Mullins is going to have an issue. She's a BJJ. I mean, she's a weak athlete. She's a BJJ practitioner who like I talked about earlier, she struggles to get the fight to the ground. So if you can't wrestle, you're going to be in trouble. Mm-hmm. That said, Nora's 2-0 in the UFC. Is Nora the worst 2-0 fighter in the UFC?
Might be, man. I still think she got lucky in the first fight against Jocelyn Edwards in Paris. I thought Jocelyn won that fight.
She got headlocked by Jocelyn Edwards.
I mean, yeah, at this one, I gotta say, good finish, man. I mean, beautiful need to deliver, you know, and then she kicked her twice in the head. I think it was a beautiful finish, but still, man, she's probably going to be ranked, but it kind of shows the bantamweight division right now, but with the women, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right, guys. So we've covered all the fights. Let's do some of the fun stuff: the Bulls, the Bears, the Cutlass. I'm putting Big Marcel on the spot. Don't feel obligated to do this stuff, but I'll do this. So we have a fight of the night and 2 performances. Ben, I'm sorry, I just called you Ben. Big Marcel. Before we get to that, and I tell you what they are, tell me what if you're the boss, you're writing the checks, what would you give for fight of the night and 2 performance bonuses?
I go fight of the night. I go Morgan Charrier against Shepard Mariscal.
Okay.
And performance of the night, I'm going with Jean Matsumoto, and I'm picking Bahamondes.
You are almost perfect. So you had the fight of the night.
Nice.
You had Bahamondes. They gave it to Cesar Almeida instead of Matsumoto. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm surprised by that. To me, the fight of the night. Well, no, I'm going to go with yours, Matsumoto and Bahamondes for my performances. I'm surprised the main event didn't get the fight of the night. The main event was dope.
It was good, yeah, but yeah, I like the Shepard against Charrier more as well. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
We're both great fights. I wouldn't have minded if the main event got it.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Usually they give it to the main event.
Yeah,
you know, if it's a really good main event, I'm surprised they went to. Dana's not there. Dana would have gave it to the. Let's do Cutlass, Ben. Ben, I called you Ben again. I'm sorry. When you've done like 500 shows, it's easy to say Ben. I got 4, and again, I know you took the shortness. So I'll give you who I'm getting rid of, and we'll let you save them or I'll cut them. So you'll be you're the goalie. You're the goalie in soccer. So this is like the penalty kick.
Let's go.
All right. My number 1 didn't even fight on the card tonight.
Cynthia Calvillo.
That's because she's lost 5 in a row and missed weight so bad. I'm getting rid of Cynthia Calvillo. Are you saving, or is the ball going by you and into the net?
I honestly love Cynthia Calvillo, but I cannot save her, man. You know, so I just cannot. You know, I mean, she lost 5 in a row. and now she didn't make weight, and the fight got called off. I cannot save her. I
All
really
right.
like Cynthia, but I can't.
All right. So right now I'm 1-0 in my goal kicks. All right.
Penalty kicks.
Penalty kicks. My next one. This one it might hurt some people because he's been around for a long time. Dude's lost 3 fights in a row. Over the last 7 years, he's 3-8, and he's old. I know he's got a full fight contract, so I know it's not happening. But I'm getting rid of Court McGee.
I'm with you.
Is it a goal?
Yeah.
Another goal. All right. How about this one? I think he's 0-4 at featherweight now. I'm getting rid of Alex Hernandez.
I wouldn't mind it, but I'll save him.
You saved it. All right. So you saved. So Alex Hernandez is not on the cut list, as Big Marcel has saved him. And my last one, this guy's an action fighter, but he's lost to good people. But eventually you have to win. I'm cutting Christoph Giagos. He's lost 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, there you go. So I scored a goal on 3 out of 4. I'm assuming that's pretty good on 3 out of 4. Is that a good penalty kick?
Yeah.
All right. I know that it's not a very popular sport, but how about the rest of the people in soccer? Who's like the best? I don't know what's it called. Penalty kicker? Is there someone who's like best at it?
No, not that I know pretty much. Sometimes listen, man,
There's
they're
no,
always specialists. They're always specialists in something, but they also miss sometimes.
So no one keeps track of that stuff. Like no one knows.
Yeah,
like,
they definitely do, but I don't.
It's not popular enough of a sport for someone to kind of stick and keep stats, right? Like no, like like when you're watching MMA, there's someone keeping the stats and strikes, but because soccer is so not popular, no one's stats.
Even the throw-ins get noted. So I mean, it does. But yeah.
Who's the best soccer player? Like who's the best in the world?
It's probably still
Ronaldo.
It was Messi or Ronaldo, but Messi, I think Ronaldo. You can call Mbappe as well one of the best.
Okay. Yeah. Who's the best from your country?
Best from my country.
Country has a team, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
They got a team. They're but they're not good, are they?
They're pretty decent. They're in the top 10 of the world. The
really?
Yeah.
I mean, hold on. Is it like different category, like top 10 for like third world or just
no world ranking worldwide?
Like a third world country is a guys. That's an inside joke of me and Big Mark. I've been making it. I don't know how long we've known each other. We've probably known each other for about 5 years. I've been making the joke. So
all the time.
Who's the best from your country? The Dutch.
A lot of people would say Memphis Depay, but in my opinion, it's Frankie De Jong. So
Frankie, what would you say his last name was?
De Jong.
Frankie De Jong.
Yeah.
Is that like a fighter name, like Frankie the Young, like the young assassin, the young? What is he?
It's pretty much De Jong means De Jong in English, so De Jong, but it's differently spelled.
Yeah. Oh, Frankie De Jong. So I love people. They're all defending your team, guys. I know that they got a good team. I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
I love. They're all like the people that comment like, "What are you talking about?" I love. That's my new favorite player, Frankie De Jong. So
he's good, man. He's good.
Yeah. Frankie De Jong assassin. If that was MMA. All right, let's get to the.
By the way, I cut another one.
Okay.
I cut Lucas Dresky.
He won.
I don't care. He's 1-3, and he barely won.
No, that's Ruth. Big Marcel is like when the goalie takes the ball out. The goalie just went from one goal all to the other side and scored a goal himself.
Yeah, but I'm just honest, man. I mean, he's 1-3, and if he won by amazing finish or whatever, I keep him. But this was like he just got by. You know what I mean? So
the guy has his biggest moment in his career. And Marcel's like, get out of here.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's great. All right, let's get to the Bulls and the Bears. The Bulls and Bears are our stock market reference. This is we'll start with Bulls. These guys who had a good night. I'll throw some out there. Big Marcel, if you have any, you can add to it. I disagree with him winning, but the dude's 3-0 in the UFC now. I mean, Chepe Mariscal's. I mean, this is a guy that was brought in. I didn't expect him to last very long. Dude's a gamer. I say his stock is going up. Chepe Mariscal. Now, and I'll read anybody in the comment. You guys want to throw your Bulls and the Bears up there? We'll read them. My number 2. I mean, it's got to be Brendan Allen. I mean, it was a fun fight. He's on a 7-fight win streak now. I mean, he's got an outside shot. Like, I don't expect him to get a title shot, but something happens out of Sonya. That fight doesn't happen. It's not in the realm of possibility. Sometimes it's the right place, right time. He can get a phone call. And how about this one? How about the consensus Shillan and Duffy show continuing to put it down? We went 2-0 on our upset picks. We both went with Almeida and Jackson. There wasn't that much going on with the Bulls, so I had to throw something in there. It was either that or French women. The French women continue to win. As if you remember, Manon Farrow won the last fight of the night of the last card, and then it started with Nora winning the first fight. So it was like back-to-back French women get victories in the UFC.
True. I didn't think about that. Yeah. You would have put Bahamondas in the pool?
Yeah, I mean, you could. There you go. So that's not me. I gave him the award, so there you go. Big Marcel.
Okay.
Baja Mondays in there. Let's go with Bears. So this is people who did not have a good night. Chris Curtis. I mean, his performance was fine, but he lost. But I'm more concerned with an injury. Like they talk about like winning the battle, losing the war. I mean, he didn't even win the battle, but he probably lost the war. I mean, if he tore his hamstring, that's a really bad injury. So that's why I think his stock went down a little bit, especially for a guy who's so active. He wants to be active, and he's up there in age and stuff. That's really bad. I know too. I mean, Alex Hernandez. This is a guy that one time had a lot of buzz. He's lost 4 out of 5. He's 0-4 at featherweight. And my number 1, I'm going to go with Germaine De Randamie. And why her stock is down. She's 40 years old. She just lost. And the narrative changed so much between a win and a loss. If she won, they were talking about title shots. Like she was mentioning that. Mm-hmm. And a loss changes that narrative of, wow, the old champion is returned. And I know she wasn't the champion once ever, but I'm saying the old champion. She was on the streak. She just won. She's beaten Juliana Pena. She's beat Norma Dumont. Like that would be that would be the narrative. Instead, the narrative is 40-year-old who hasn't won a fight in almost 4 years. Like, so to me, her stock is way down. Do you have anybody else to add to that?
No, by the way, you just called a 39-year-old woman 40. That's not good, Keith. Okay. She's 3 weeks. She's 40.
She's gonna be 40 by her next fight. So I'm saying the narrative then.
I kind of agree, man. Because like, now she's lost to she lost to Norma Dumont. It's not really good, So I'm kind of agree with these 3, man. I don't really have anything to add. I think no. I'm good. Yeah, Chris Toyoni, good call.
Matt chalked those out there. That was not only was it 2 French women, but French underdogs. So nice job there. I'm gonna throw some dude series out there. I love when Michael Bisping was talking. I don't remember which fight it was, but in the post fight, he goes, "The place was losing itself." There was 4 people in the crowd. The place was losing itself.
The problem here is that in the Netherlands, the main card, we have the Dutch commentary team I'm watching. I have to watch that because I have to clip clips, Okay. So if there is anything fun with the American commentary or the English commentary by the American commentators, I have no idea.
So. Yeah. So Michael Bisping, when he's in the post, I can't remember who he was talking to. But he was like, that fight was crazy. It must have been, I think it might have been Campbell versus like afterwards when he's talking to Campbell and he's like, congratulations. The house was losing itself. And it's like, You mean the 4 people there for Campbell?
It's like what I said to Billy Q last time. It's like I'm gonna heat the apex. Say, oh, cool for all these 10 people there. But I'm always just kidding with him, so you can take it.
Yeah, there's more excitement at my cookout when we have our cornhole tournament, or when we're playing high-low jack or something.
I think they also said, I think before the card started, I think Paul Felder was talking to Bisping, and he was like saying like, yeah, and we're now back in the Apex today. Next week we're in the T-Mobile Arena, but it doesn't matter. The fights are great,
Yeah, Bisping said that at the beginning. Yeah. These guys always show. He goes, they always show up under the pressure, like the pressure of the Apex. Marcus Mustard throwing out the commentary talking about Trevor Peek's running hammer fist. Icy Vegata points out that Bisping called the Polish fighter Russian. Wow, that happens. This is a good one. This is a good one. Make some noise if you are ready at the Apex.
The answer.
Yeah. Make some noise if you are ready. I'll give you one more, dude. Seriously, how about Campbell? He beats Trevor Peek. After beating Trevor Peek in it, probably needed the 3rd round, or he calls himself the best in the world. But even better, he's like, dude, can my mom come in the cage?
Yeah, yes, I heard that.
Like, you didn't win the title, dude. You beat Trevor Peek. He called for his mom. He did like a yo agent. We did it. We needed Paulie to pull up the bottom rope and then mom slide in. Dude, you know what? She should have just ran in. No one's there to stop her.
Do you remember the in Russia those events with I think Kishigin was the guy. He always had his mother or something in the corner, and when he did bad, his mother gave him like a bitch slap or something.
Remember, hey, Dan Severn's mom used to corner. Remember that way back in the day? His mom had the big like afro, and he was like cornering him. All right, too much fun. All right, let's go. What's your overall grade for the card?
Oh God, you go with the A, B, C, D.
Okay, you can't do that. All right, give us the what does the Dutch do it?
One or 10, and 1 is bad and 10 is good.
How do you say it in Dutch? Like
I'll give it the 6.5.
1, 2, 3. How do you do it? How do you say it in Dutch?
6.5. I don't know what grade that is in the US, so you got to help me there.
Okay, what's it? What's a 6 in Dutch? How do you say that?
Well, do you say it in Dutch?
Yeah, what's a word?
Zes.
Zest.
Zest.
All right. Well, I'll give it a zest and a half.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Okay. I'm gonna go high. So a 6.5 would be really bad in the US. That would be like a D, and that would be really bad. Okay. So I'm gonna go with a B, which would be like an 8 out of 10.
So that's high. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, the main event was so good.
Yeah, it was. But
the main event was so good. We had like the Crow Cop high kick for Muhammad days. Trevor Peek being a cut, always going to pull it up. Mariscal fight. I think all those fights, there was like a terrible lull between, there was like 3 fights in a row. De Randamie's fight, followed by your boy Dureski's, followed by Morano. There was like this tough stretch. But everything else I'll say, yeah, I'm giving like a B.
Okay, I go with 7. Okay, I go with 7.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you. All right. This is easy. Usually this is the hardest question, but tonight is the easiest one where I give my listener tonight. Dude, my boy Marcel went from the chat to the main show. He's definitely our listener tonight. Listen, I want to say this. So obviously Big Marcel, he's a huge name in the MMA media. If you don't follow him on Twitter, like shame on you. You're not even an MMA fan. I try. I'm really bad with Twitter. Like I'm an old man, so I've been bad with MMA, MMA and social media in general. But Twitter, I've been trying to move more. You have to follow Big Marcel. But listen, I know Marcel personally. We used to do a podcast show together back in the day with Loudmouth MMA. I'm proud of this guy, how much he's grown, how big he is. And he's one of the best dudes. That's more importantly. The success hasn't gone to his head. He's the absolute best dude. So make sure you follow him. He's a good dude. Big Marcel, thank you for joining us. Save the show, because if not, I would have been rambling on and on. So thank you so much, man. You got to have you on again, man. Ben is gonna be so disappointed that he wasn't here.
Man, thanks for having me as always, man. You also one of my favorite people. You know that, Keith. We're always like joking to each other. You with calling my country a third world country. It's so fun, you know. And, yeah, I really, I love the banter all the time. So yeah, thank you for having me on, man. Absolute fun too. I think last time we did it was at Loudmouth MMA for a long time, a
Yeah.
long time ago. So yeah, it was good to talk to you again, man. And yeah, I'm always checking this show out, but sometimes I have to watch it back because at pay-per-view evenings it's just too late for me, but at fight nights I'm always watching.
Yeah, cool, man. I appreciate that. So listen, guys, make sure you tweet this out so we can see Big Marcel on the show. Guys, with that said, it is officially UFC 300 week now that we just closed the show. We're going to do it bigger than ever. It's going to be, so obviously we're doing the preview show. It's probably going to be our deepest show ever. And we do a deep show, so that's going to be really, really deep. I asked you guys that you like this, do all that stuff. Next, and that preview, I want you guys to comment. I want you to like. I want you to do all the stuff that we don't ask people to do. Listen, we need this show to grow faster than Damian Jackson's hairline did. Like, we need it going, So please make sure you do all that. Big Marcel, tell the people again how to follow you on Twitter, and also tell them all the stuff you got, because I know you got a big week coming up.
Yeah, for sure, man. Big Marcel 24 on Twitter and Instagram. Articles, Eurosport.nl mixed martial arts section, but it's in Dutch. But hey, guys, you got Google Translate if it's really important. That's what I always say. Got a podcast with Adam Martin every Monday normally. Sometimes on Sunday. It depends on if we have what is most convenient for us. Got a Bellator show with Santiago. Got a Dutch show with Dennis and with Gilbert Ivel. But yeah, that's in Dutch. Yeah, and next week, expect some interviews. Not for me, because we have some guys who are actually there, so they're going to do the interviews over there. But during fight nights or whatever, I'm normally now doing the interviews, as I did last week with Germaine De Randamie and with Brandon Allen and Chris Curtis. So yeah, that's basically it, man. Most things will be on my Twitter account. I'm more active on Twitter than I'm on Instagram, because Instagram is for me still. I listen. I actually feel like an old man on Instagram, and even I don't even use TikTok because I feel like way too old for TikTok. You know what I mean? So yeah,
I think I feel, because I don't even know how Instagram. I don't even know how Instagram works. So I have an Instagram because it used to be the MMA Takeover. They changed it to my name, and I haven't posted anything on there. I don't know how to. It's how bad it is. So, anyways, thanks again, Big Marcel.
How late is it at yours right now?
What?
How late? What's the time for you?
It's 10:30. So it's not. 10:30. This is not bad at all. So
okay.
I'm actually before I go to bed, I'm gonna sneak some more UFC 300 prep. And nice. Guys, UFC 300, we're gonna do it big. So thanks so much. Make sure, listen, if you watch this show, I know next week is gonna be crazy late. It's gonna be the best one ever. So please come back next week, UFC 300. It's gonna be late, but guys, we can all be tired for one Sunday morning. So thank you guys so much. See you next time.